but before I tell you about day 2, I should really say how I started this whole trip from Costa Rica. I actually flew first into Vancouver to visit my friend Desiree and Nico. I haven't seen Desiree in about 1.5 years since her last child was born, McKenna. McKenna was about 2 months old. Now, Desiree and Nico have Parker, who's 6 weeks old when I went and visited them, and McKenna's going to turn 2 in November. I just want to tell you a little bit about Desiree and Nico because Desiree was my best friend at Dordt College, and funny thing about Desiree and me is we're quite different. Our lives right now look completely different. But, I mean, we're quite different, but quite similar, obviously. Had a blast together in college. We're both pretty laid back, both pretty, drama-free people. I only ever remember getting in a fight with her once. It wasn't really a fight. I think I just yelled at her once. I don't know if she remembers that time, but we're not going to talk about it. But anyway, we've kept in touch since college, and I guess the good thing is Desiree and I both kind of suck at keeping in touch. We'll go long periods of times without talking, but I know with Desiree that she's always going to be my friend, and I think I hope she knows that about me too. Even when we suck at long distance communication and our lives are all over the place. I guess I just want to say something about Desiree and Nico because, when I was there, first of all, I haven't seen Nico since their wedding in July of 2013, and Nico picked me up from the airport at 5:30 in the morning because I flew in on a red eye, and I haven't talked to him since his wedding, and right away he's like, ugh, like always, or like usual, I'm coming to pick you up. It just got me laughing, yeah, that is like usual. The middle of the night, Desiree would be like, Nico, come get us. And this time she sent him off to go get me. It's pretty great. But I like that he gave me shit right away. Desiree and Nico, they're doing it right. They got Nico's on his family farm. They have 2 kids. They got married right out of college. And that's always something that I think people think that I look down on that kind of life. And the whole time I was there, I just thought, this is so beautiful. And, they're, genuinely happy. Desiree has 2, beautiful children. McKenna is talking a mile a minute. I think there was a whole, hour that day where Desiree and I couldn't have a conversation because, McKenna had things to say, which was awesome. And it was so cool, being in their house and finally, just seeing what their lives have become. And as Nico and I were driving to the airport, because Nico drove me back to the airport when I flew up to Alaska, he said something like, you don't seem that excited about going to Alaska. And we kind of just exchanged words about, how he was jealous I was going to Alaska. And I was like, kind of getting to a point where I'm jealous that you just have life and home and comfort. And then as I was on the plane to Alaska, I was thinking more about that, and I was really like, I'm not jealous of that per se. I really respect that, and I hope someday I have that. But my life is really great, and I'm really happy with where my life is right now, and this awesome job that I got this year. Thanks, Jackie. Shout out for telling me about it, and then Kara down in Costa Rica for just helping me along, and it's awesome. But Desiree and Nico, you have a beautiful life, which ties me into my little sister Krista. She also beautiful life. She has an awesome husband who's the coolest, and I can't imagine our family without him, Eric. Actually, when people ask me now, how many siblings do you have? I just tell them 4. Like, yeah, I have 4 younger siblings. And then, like, down the road, if they ask me more questions, I'm like, well, yeah, one of them's an in-law. But, like, he's my little brother. That's how I think of it now. You know, he's a part of our family. And Krista's really blessed. She's got, like, the cutest little house. And, you know, I go to her house, too. And I'm like, you have the awesome job. You have the awesome house. Like, you are doing it right. And I think it's just good at this age, in our 20s, to, like, not compare lives. Facebook makes that easy. And there's, like, so much beauty in everyone's lives, and really is good to, like, just look at yourself in the moment. Like, easy for me to do the grass is greener thing. And as I travel more and the world gets bigger and my friend circle expands, sometimes it's overwhelming, but, like, I feel so, I'm gonna say it, I'm just gonna say it, I'm sorry, but I feel blessed, like, I really do. To just say lucky would be an understatement. Like, I am blessed, but, you know, also, I was talking to 3 girlfriends that I made at training. Like, you know, I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm proud of the people at Backroads who make this their life. Like, we're not just lucky, like, we did this, we're making it happen, we're living the life we want. So, yeah. Anyway, let me tell you, this drive, a lot of time by yourself. You get a lot of time to think about these things. And now I'm just word vomiting to anyone who's still listening. This video is mostly so I can talk to myself in the van right now, but if you're listening, cool. Appreciate you. I'm sure you're a pretty cool person to be putting up with my voice right now. It's a little, I gotta drink some water, but I also gotta pee, so I'm kind of at a conundrum. I think I'm gonna go for the water. We've peed more outside just on the ground in the past few days than we have in an actual facility, so pulling over on the side of the road doesn't faze me. Or this crew, if we gotta pee at any point. So day 2, we're now at the 7-minute and 30-minute mark, so I'm gonna actually start talking about day 2. Well, we had gotten late, right? It was 3 a.m., so we all essentially stayed in bed till 11. We needed that sleep. It was good that we needed it. Something I didn't consider, like, normal road trips, you're with other people in the car, so, like, you can get up early, you can rotate the driving, but here we really all need, like, a full night's sleep because we are the only drivers for each vehicle, so that's important. And, you know, we checked out, had fun checking out. Everything we do is, like, slow because we're just, like, talking to people, like, living life, and it's a good time. The lady that worked there knows has had Backroads people there before, asked if more Backroads people are coming. We told her yeah. She's very friendly and gave us a couple maps because we officially have no service at this point, and get the maps, get back on the Alaskan Highway. And about 18 miles down the road, there's a little log cabin with smoke coming out of the chimney, and they sell crepes. So we pull in because we hadn't eaten breakfast yet at this point. Yeah, it's like 11. And cute little French couple inside there, and they have just all they have is crepes. And so the 4 of us sit down together, we eat some awesome crepes, again by a wood burning stove in this little log cabin. Really cute. Nothing else is around, just some spectacular mountains, and you have no idea, like, what people do around here, you know? It's crazy. And the man is very nice. We get our coffee, get our crepes, we head out after about maybe 30 minutes sitting there talking about glaciers. You know, we're getting more KOA from our Alaskan co-leaders, talking about glaciers and science and how all those icy things work, the ice age. We got our walkie-talkies going officially, so we're all using our awesome code names, and beginning day 2 of Operation Moose Hunt. Oh, I forgot to tell you, on day 1 we saw 2 moose. How could I forget? See, this is why that's why I wanted to write, and I've been wanting to write every night, but I don't got time for that. So, day 1, driving along, Amy's in the front, I'm right behind her, and this moose crossed the road right in front of her. luckily we were at a good distance. We were able to stop like safely and everything, no harm. But it was pretty cool. And then sure enough, not long down the road, maybe like 10 miles down the road, we saw another one right to the right, just hanging out. So I turned on my blinker to like notify Natalie and Nick behind me that there's a moose, and they both saw it too. So really cool. Neither of them had antlers, so we're still on the lookout for a moose that has antlers, but we were pretty excited about that nonetheless. And okay, so going back to my day 2 again. So shoot, where was I don't know. We're driving. It's beautiful. Driving along, more mountains, more amazing turns. I wish I could just like show you my brain right now so you could see all the awesome memories I have from this drive. It's so cool. Maybe in the future they'll do that. They'll do that for sure in the future. Oh, we're about to cross a big bridge. And Natalie's nervous about it. Maybe not nervous, but she's phoning in about it. Oh yeah, it is pretty. Pretty. I gotta work on my vocab, guys. That should be a goal of mine. I wonder if there's a podcast about vocabulary, expanding your vocabulary. Anyway. Highlight of yesterday is as we're coming around this pass, we had kind of just stopped. We were throwing the frisbee on the side of the road, and then we start going, and we come up to Kewaunee Lake, right outside of Kewaunee National Park. And this lake is huge. I mean, huge whitecaps in the water. Like, you know, there's like kind of like a beachy area with like waves crashing into it. So a very big lake, and the water is just like pristine, like so blue, so beautiful. And all around are these yellow trees. I mean, it's like fall here. Right now it's like 46 degrees. So it's cold. Fall is already very much alive and coming here. And I couldn't tell you the name of these trees. Maybe I'll research that when I get home. But beautiful yellow trees everywhere with this like lake in the background, and we're coming in on this curvy road, like coming down, so you can see the lake, you can see the trees, just spectacular. So, you know, Nick phones in, Narwhal phones in and says, hey, we gotta stop. So we pull off on the side of the road, and again, sometimes we just get out of our vans and just start like yelling and like being like, oh my gosh, like what the hell, like where are we? Like it's just so cool, so pretty everywhere we go. And we get out, we kind of run to the beach, we're taking pictures, we're taking selfies, we're just looking, enjoying the beautiful mountains. We got the snow-capped mountains, we got the sun, like it's coming through the clouds perfectly, beautiful sun rays, we got the yellow trees like blowing in the wind, never mind the fact that we're freezing, like beside the fact. And then we get back in our vans, and not like 100 meters down the road, we turn another corner, and it looks like we've transported into like Yosemite, because off the lake there's like, it looks like, you know, the mist, or it looks like the geysers at Yosemite, how they just kind of like hot springs, like how they just kind of steam. But it's like huge. These huge, beautiful, like mist, it just looks out of this world. And so then we're all talking to each other on the walkie-talkies, like, what is this? Like, where are we right now? Like, we're in the middle of like Yukon, northern Canada, in August, the end of August. It's gorgeous. Well, we start driving through it. We realize it's like not only this like mist, cloud, it's also sand. Like there is blowing sand coming across the road and like hitting our vans. And let me tell you, when we pull into Utah in 9 days, our vans, they are going to be so dirty. Right now they're so dirty. So anyway, we're going through this sand, and we're all on our walkie-talkies like, oh my goodness, like this is unreal. And for a little bit, it's really hard to see. Like I lose Amy in front of me because it's really thick as we're driving through it. But we drive through it, drive out of it, and it's just so pretty. I wish I had better words to tell you about it. Drive through it, looking back. Now we're on the other side of the lake, just the way the road winds, kind of. And now we're looking back at the lake in my rear view mirror. It's just gorgeous. Sun is shining. So happy. Keep going down the road. Some more like spectacular mountains. Natalie phones in on the walkies. Like, oh my goodness, it's the wall from Game of Thrones. And I'm not a Game of Thrones person, but I knew what she was talking about. Just to our right, there was these spectacular mountains, like just pointed. Like it looks like a castle could have been inside of the mountain. Snow covered, up in the clouds, like misty, like, ooh, out of the world, mystical is like the only words I can think to describe it. And we're just loving life, loving every second of it. And we continue our drive, day 2. More spectacular views. Yesterday's drive, was only about 5 hours. So we ended up getting into Whitehorse at like 6:15. We stayed at the Sky High Wilderness Ranch, which has their own dogs. They have about 160 Alaskan Huskies for sled dogs. And they have these fantastic cabins, which I talked about, I think, in my first video. So we get to this cabin, we pull up, and the view, we just have a front porch stocked with firewood, with a view of the lake and the mountains behind it. It's gorgeous. We're all just happy. We all just get out of the van, we're all just yelling, like we're happy. It's so cool. And you know, we have a full kitchen, but there's no running water. So we have like 4 tubs of water that we can use while we stay there. And there's no electricity, no lights. So they have these gas-powered lights that you turn on the gas, you light a match, and there's your light. So I guess, yeah, there you have it. But running water, you got to just like turn a tab from this big tub. And that's how we like cooked and did the dishes and everything. So yeah, we decided we were going to cook, so we drove back into town in one van. Felt nice to all be in one van together. Oh, man, this view coming up on another beautiful lake. Ooh, I wonder if this is Watson Lake. Anyway, probably not. We still have a ways to go to that. We decided to cook, go to the grocery store, come back. All 4 of us cooking together in this tiny little kitchen, like with no electricity, minimal, like, you know, you just realize what you take for granted all the time. We made an awesome little teriyaki rice, chicken, sweet potato, broccoli, peppers, mushrooms with like a kale salad with cucumbers and tomatoes and avocado. And then we bought cookie dough to make cookies for dessert, and it was just fun, all sitting there together cooking. Nick going back and forth from the vans a million times trying to look for beer, which we had. Nick just like, you know, couldn't find it in our complicated trailers. Whatever, he was being silly and we were making fun of him. And then it was so nice. We like all sat down. There was a table made for 4. So we all sat down at our home cooked meal with the fire burning. The like wood burning stove that was in there had made it hot in there, which was awesome for me. Not so awesome for the girls who had been in Alaska all summer. They were like, I'm dying, Kayla. And I was like, I was still in my North Face coat, feeling toasty and loving it. But so compromise, we had the wood stove burning, but we had the front door open, which is kind of nice, letting in the fresh air, view of the lake, everything. And we sat down and I don't know, I just was like, can we like pray? Which I don't normally say that to people that I don't know. Luckily we have this cool group that we had kind of talked a little bit. You know, some of us have some religious backgrounds, some of us don't, some of us, you know, like but I knew that maybe they'd be open to the idea of praying, and I was just so happy in that moment, and I just wanted to say a little thanks to Jesus for such a good trip so far. I mean, it was day 2. We'll see what I'm saying on day 11, right guys? But I was feeling pretty good, and so it was nice. We said a little prayer, thank God for our safety and for our meals, prayed for our families back home. And then we dug in eating. We had some Alaskan beers left with us. Again, that some leaders had left. Thanks, leaders of Alaska who left stuff. We took it, and we love you. Not going to waste. And we sat and ate dinner together and ended up sitting at that kitchen table till midnight. We played some cards. We played President. A lot of good laughs. A lot of stories. You know, we all kind of talked about where we came from, what we want to do, how much time we have to think on these trips. And again, just really cool people. We're all very different, but we're all very similar in the same way. And it's awesome. So finally at midnight, we decided we had to stop playing President. Then Nick, though. So we have an outhouse. Of course, because, yeah, there's no electricity, no running water. So we have an outhouse. And for Kayla standards, it's like way too far away from from the house. And Nick decides to tell this story of this woman in Alaska who, like, walked to an outhouse and a wolf, like, ripped her leg off. And I was like, well, thank you. Now I can't poop tonight, so that's great. And so the 3 of us girls, like, go to the outhouse together, and Nick was laughing as we left. He was like, man, I am surely traveling with a bunch of women who are all going to go to the bathroom at the same time. Nick's a champ. Thanks for chilling with us. And so we went to the outhouse together with our flashlights, and like, well, one girl peed, the other ones like stood watch, you know, gonna fend off the wolves. In reality, though, another cool part, see, so many cool parts I keep forgetting to tell you. As we're driving back from the grocery store, a lynx just crosses the road in front of us, not far from our cabin. So we're almost back to our cabin, like outside of town, on a dirt road, and a lynx just casually crosses the road in front of us. Like, that was not even on my radar of things we were gonna see, you know? Like, oh my goodness, this lynx had huge little paws, sorry about that, huge bushy paws, like full of fur, and its pointed ears, and it was just like spectacular. I can't believe we saw that. We were all freaking out, rightfully so. But I was thinking a little bit about that lynx at midnight when I'm trying to pee in the outhouse with the door open with both Amy and Natalie with their flashlights, you know. Anyway, we all safely peed that night and made it back to the cabin alive. And us girls slept. There was a loft in this cabin, so the 3 of us slept upstairs in this loft, while Nick slept downstairs on a pull-out couch, which I think was, I'm sure it was comfortable for him. Really nice night, and again, went to sleep feeling really content, really happy. Great day 2. I think I'm gonna have to get this crew to pull over and stop to pee now, so I'm gonna leave you guys now. Bye.